Hi, this is Chuck Stull looking at our second part of structural change in the U.S. telephone industry. Now, we left last time with a newly, perhaps not competitive, but we did have multiple phone companies operating in the United States for the first time in nearly a century. We had the 7 regional bell operating companies, or the baby bells, um, and AT&T. Now, the regional bell operating companies were providing local service in their geographic areas, and they had been told that they could compete in long distance service if there were local competitors established in their areas, which would put them head to head with AT&T. So we had something that was starting to look like it could grow into a competitive industry or perhaps a loose oligopoly. But instead, we saw a lot of work that had been done by the antitrust authorities undone by a series of mergers approved by the Federal Communications Commission. So let me start by looking at the northeastern part of the country where we have 9X and Bell Atlantic. Those two companies merged in 1997 and then purchased GTE, another telephone manufacturer, and formed a company that you probably are familiar with today, Verizon. So Verizon, in some ways, was the simplest of the Baby Bell mergers, Bell Atlantic and New York New England Exchange, 9X, merging together to form Verizon, a company that still exists today. The other set of mergers comes out of Dallas, and this is Southwestern Bell, which had renamed itself SBC and started buying up other baby bells, as well as buying cell companies and cable companies. So they bought Pacific Telesis, or Pac Bell, Ameritech, and later Bell South. They tried to buy AT&T in 1997, but that was prohibited by the Federal Communications Commission. But AT&T continued to lose market share in the long distance services and continued to struggle. Eventually, AT&T was spinning off more and more of its units. They exited residential service and essentially were on the verge of bankruptcy. In 2005, the remnants of AT&T were purchased by SBC, and SBC changes its name to AT&T. So the AT&T that we know today isn't the AT&T of headquartered in New York with the big research labs in New Jersey. This is the former Baby Bell SBC, still headquartered in Texas, still managed by SBC executives. So the new AT&T, often just a slight change in the logo, was rebuilt from parts of the old AT&T, right, combining the different regional Bell operating companies, so that we ended up not quite where we started from, but the work that had been done by the Department of Justice to create more competition in the phone industry, it was broadly reduced by those mergers. So the new AT&T, while not as powerful as the old AT&T, but the structure is significantly less competitive than it could have been. Now, from this point on, the interesting changes in telephones are more about technological change and technology, particularly the rise in cell phones and the development of fiber optics, and we'll be looking at those over our next videos. This has been Chuck Stull from Kalamazoo College talking about the second phase of structural change in the phone industry. Thanks for listening.